everyone, and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show, where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. To get started, I'd like to give a shout out to Justin and his wife Sarah. Thank you for subscribing to my channel and starting to watch the programs. Justin actually delivers wine to the store, and good guy. Like Justin a lot. And he wants to learn about wine. He wants to expand his palate horizons, and he asks a lot of good questions. So Justin, I hope you're learning something from these shows. That's what they're all about. Learning how to, learning about wines and learning just everything in general. I got stuck there for just a minute. Unedited, so I'm not going to go back and cut that little part out. Talk about a brain cramp. Anyway, I hope you continue to enjoy these shows and learn something and learn to find wines that are worth the money. So we're going to look at blends. Blends are a huge category. You know, the funny thing about that, I've said this before on the show, they've been doing blends in the old world for years and years and years, hundreds of years. Bordeaux, all about blends. There's some Spanish wines that are blends, of course, but of course the Rhone Valley, just France in general. France is famous for blends, and they've been doing it a long time. Of course, they're highly regulated there. In Bordeaux, you have to use X amount of this, X amount. You can't plant anything besides the 5 grapes of Bordeaux. And the Rhone Valley, they regulate certain things about the wines. Whereas in the United States and other countries, there's not as much regulation. So in the United States, you'll find, I hear through the grapevine, no pun intended, that Menage a Trois is coming out with a Menage Silk or something like that, which would be a blend of Pinot and Petit Syrah. I haven't seen it yet, so don't quote me on that. But so they can do that. They can blend any grape they want in any proportions. They don't even have to call it a cab. Even if it's 75% cab, they can call it whatever they want to call it in the United States. So we're actually going to go 3 different areas. We're going to go Chile, Cali, California, and Washington. Let's see how they fare. The first one is from Montgras. It's the by Ninquin. They have a line called Ninquin, or Ninquin, something like that. This is the Antu. It's a Cabernet Carmenere, and it's from Colchagua, Chile. So there you go. Carmenere and Cabernet Sauvignon. So it's 70% Cab, 30% Carmenere. Do a little rinse. I like to rinse a glass, just in case. I didn't get all the, wasn't rinsed good after it was washed. That's the only reason I do that. When you're at home, it's not necessarily all that critical. But when you're tasting a wine and grading it, I think it's pretty important that you rinse the glass. So Carmenere is one of those grapes that I have to be careful with at the store, because Carmenere can literally be like a tossed salad in your glass. A lot of vegetal elements in that. So anyway, that's what a Carmenere can do, and it doesn't always do that. Carmenere can also have good fruit. It's very earthy, very robust red wine. So this will be an interesting combination of Cab and Carmenere. Let's see what we get on the nose. Oh, this rolls in, by the way, at $22. So yes, I do get a little bit of like celery, kind of like, it's mostly celery I'm getting on the nose, but it's not a huge amount. So the Cab obviously is a huge part of this. So it mutes that green element, that herbaceous kind of vegetal element. Getting some like red plum, blackberry, a little bit of licorice coming through. Lots of red flowers. This is a very perfumed nose. In other words, the aromas really pop. A little bit of vanilla. It's kind of interesting having that vegetal quality come through on the back end. I like that. I'm a huge Carmenere fan, and again, I like Carmenere that has a little bit of that vegetal quality in it, because sometimes your palate craves that. So the good thing about all these different varietals, we can say, well, what am I craving now? I can go here. I want a big juicy one. I can go to Zinfandel. I want something a little smoky. I'll go to Syrah. So that's the advantage there. I really like the nose on this. Let's see what we get on the palate. Back with the Seahawk bucket. I wasn't going to pull it out until the actual season began. But, you know, we've been talking fantasy football at work, and, you know, it's just something I'm getting excited for the season to start. It's not that far away. And pretty soon the Hawks will be playing again. Pretty soon they'll be in the Super Bowl again. I'm hoping. Jimmy Graham, get to watch him with the Seahawk jersey on. Ah, a little bit of chocolate. See, there was something there that I just wasn't getting. Now let's see what we get on the palate. I love this wine right off the bat. Anything with spice on it. Black pepper, white pepper. I really like that element in a wine. I like that, getting that peppery sort of feel on the palate. Good fruit, but it's very balanced. I mean, it's not juicy, but it's also not super, super dry. Very dark fruits like black plum, licorice. The chocolate is big time. I'm glad I nailed that on the nose because I was like, there's something there. It's, you know, it's funny when you're smelling wine, sometimes you can't always, for some reason, things escape you and you're like, well, what is that? And then, that's why I like to taste wines with people. If you're ever doing that, just for the fun of it, find people that aren't shy and just kind of share aromas and flavors. It's a good way to learn. And sometimes when they say something, I know a lot of people, you know, you're influenced by that comment. Well, that isn't necessarily true. I don't buy that. We just don't get it on our palate. We can't seem to identify it for whatever reason. We have a brain cramp, a block of some sort. But when somebody says it, it's like, yeah, that's it. Get licorice on this. Get black plums. Get a little blackberry, boysenberry. So it's like someone chopped up a chocolate bar, kind of melted it just a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of white pepper, and then kind of mix that up with plums and boysenberries. Good bottle of wine. Now I think you can get it for less than 22 bucks. Just another shout out to this distributor who makes pricing it. You look in their catalog, it's really tough. If you buy a case, you get a lower price. So you might find this for under $20 in some stores. Hopefully you can. This is a great bottle of wine. Good balance, across the palate. The spiciness hits you at first, but then it settles down. It isn't overbearing. That would be great with spare ribs on the barbecue, barbecue chicken, anything barbecue that would be really good with. I'd be good with steak. Great bottle of wine. I'm going to go A- on that. A-, right off the bat, an A- wine. Love it. Not sure if it's in the right order. You see, I've not tried these. Now we're going to move on to Steel Winery. Came out with a non-vintage red. This is new for them. I got to try it a while back, but I can't remember everything about it. Lake County, red wine, and it does not tell you what's in it, but it's $15, and I actually have it at the store for $11. So there's, I don't think I showed you the Ninkin. Okay, so here's a Ninkin, Antu, there you go. I want you to see that label. A-, excellent. Now we're going to move on to the Scarlet from Steel Wines, non-vintage red. So Jed's able to take different grape varietals and mix them from different vintages, and you know, a lot of winemakers like to do that. It doesn't tie their hands to a specific vintage variation sort of thing. So anyway, I think Jed told me what was in this. I believe it has some Zinfandel, different varietals. Anyway, it's a blend from Lake County, California. Let's see what we get on the nose. interesting is I'm just gonna dump that for a second. I can't remember if I rinsed, and I had a little bit of like a lettuce element, which could be from the Carmenere in the other wine. So there's not a lot of aromatics on this wine. Get a little bit of earthiness, which is interesting. A little charcoal element coming through. A little bit of a black raspberry meets plum meets currants. That's what I'm getting. Like I said, no specific thing is jumping out at me. It's just, it's a little muted on the nose. I get like I mentioned, a couple of things. I get that black raspberry, kind of plum, cherry thing going on. Let's see what we get on the palate. Nice balance. You think it's going to go jammy, but it really holds back. This also has a little white pepper on the finish, which I really like. Very smooth, but there's a lot of red fruits meet black fruit sort of thing going on. Chocolate on the backside, which I find very intriguing. Like I said, this is very smooth wine. A lot of people are going to like this wine. It has a lot of character to it. A lot of currants meets black cherries, dark cherries, currants, a little white pepper on the finish. This too would be a great hamburger, pizza, barbecue wine. And it has chocolate. Second wine in a row that has a little chocolate underneath of it. And it's not sweet. For those of you that have not experienced chocolate yet, I think it'd be a good idea to drink a wine that somebody describes as having chocolate undertones. Drink it first, then take a bite of chocolate, then drink it, and just see if you can get the sense of what the reviewer is talking about. Maybe you think they're whacked. Maybe you think I'm whacked. Stan, I don't get any chocolate out of that wine. But this baby has a long finish. I mean, I'm still tasting dark cherries and currants, a little bit of white pepper. It's kind of, and that chocolate underneath is really nice. What I like it as a little like a core of red fruit right underneath all those things. So it's an interesting wine. I mean, you could take this wine easily and just go right down. I mean, it is smooth, but it's complex enough that you can actually think about what you're drinking, which is always a very cool thing when you have wines. I know there's a lot of you out there, not a lot, but there's some of you out there that don't want to think about your wine. That's fine. Drink it, enjoy it, as I always say at the end of the show. But if you want to think about a wine and kind of analyze it just a little bit, this has something to analyze. In other words, this wine is not boring. And I'm going to go B+. I think it's very much a B+ wine. It'll be interesting to see how it progresses if Jed keeps doing that. Jed, you did an excellent job with this wine. A lot of wineries like to have a kind of a fallback red to, you know, maybe they didn't use this juice in this wine and that juice in that wine and that juice in that wine. They've got a little extra barrels sitting around. What a great idea. Just mix them, blend them, and come up with a non-vintage red. Very cool label. I'm going to show that again. I just think this is cool. Now let's get the Scarlet letter, the one with the Scarlet letter, all that stuff. Like I said, I have it at the store for $11. Regular retail is $15. Great bottle of wine, B+. Let's move on. Chris Sparkman, what a character. He reminds me of Jason Bateman. He looks a lot like him. Crazy dude. Love the guy. I think he's still on the head of the Washington Wine Commission right now. I'm not sure if they've changed that yet. This is the Kindred from Sparkman Cellars, Columbia Valley Red Wine. This rolls in at $20. And it's a blend of Malbec and Cabernet Sauvignon. I had to look that up on his website. Doesn't put it on his label. Just for a second, I'm going to get on my soapbox. Guys, it's just a good idea to throw something. You don't have to put percentages. Just tell us what's in it. Please tell us what's in your wine. Don't make us Google it and look it up. Just put something on there. Give us an idea. You know, because the consumer likes that. I'm sure you want to please the consumer. And make a comment. Any of you who are watching this, if you'd like to make a comment, just say, do you like to see what's in it? Do you like to see percentages? Do you like to see just the grapes? I mean, how do you feel about it? Do you like to see it? All you guys that are watching, vendors, my buddies that are watching this, tell me. Just make a quick comment. Yes, I like to see what grapes are in the wine. No, I don't really care. I'd like to know. Email me if you're afraid to put it on YouTube, if you're afraid somebody might notice your name. Anyway, so this is the Kindred from Sparkman Cellars, blend of Malbec and Cab. Let's see what we get on the nose. Now this is like one of those aromatics where it's really deep. You know, like you can tell that there's some depth to the nose. I get chocolate again. Ding, 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 ding. 3 chocolates in a row, all different, of course. This has a lot of currants with the chocolate. I definitely get tobacco. A little bit of bark coming through. This is very interesting. I can smell this for a while, but I won't hold you to that. Let's see what we get on the palate. That's a big boy. For 20 bucks, that's a steal. Big currants. I mean, some of you who are not into the big fruit wines will not like this, but I think a majority will. Good, ripe currants. It's not over the top. I wouldn't call it hedonistic, but it is definitely big. It's got some love handles on it. Yes, it does. Good bottle of wine, really. I mean, big currants. A little bit of bark action. Not like you're chewing on the bark, just that, you know when you smell bark, kind of hangs with you for a minute? It's kind of back there. And there's chocolate underneath on the palate also. Have you ever heard the term polished tannins? This is polished. Very polished. And then right at the end, it just gets a, okay, it says I'm not going to be like totally the slick dude. I have a little bit of muscle on the backside, and that's what it has. A little bit of grip, and then there's this nice, interesting, like white peppery thing going on the back end. 3 in a row. Not every show's like that. Justin reminded me of one of the shows I did way back originally, where I gave one of the wines a D, and he said, I'm not going to look for that one. Good call. I'm not going to say it again. I don't want to open an old wound, but that was a terrible wine. I've only ran into a few, but very rarely have I run into 3 in a row that are so well made and so interesting. Yeah, underneath the currants you get a nice, like a milk chocolate sort of thing going on. And then at the end it says, hey, I'm pretty serious here. Good wine. I'm going to go A on that wine. Good bottle of wine for 20 bucks. Definitely. Thanks for watching. And remember, wine is not a mystery. It is just fermented grape juice. Drink it. Enjoy it. Always be willing to try new things. Go out and try Carmenere. Give it a try. Give some blends from Chile a try. I know I don't have to tell you to give blends a try. Everybody loves blends. But try Carmenere. Have you tried a Carmenere yet? Do it, but never ever let anybody tell you what you should or shouldn't like. And if you do that, together we can keep the snob out of wine. Cheers.